You're watching WAFF 48 News at noon on your side.
Welcome in. I'm Gina Benitez. For the first time, we're hearing from the mother of a Hartselle teen who was killed as a result of a police chase. She's asking state lawmakers to pass the Tristan Hollis Act. If passed, it would require all state agencies that conduct chases to adopt a written set of policies when it comes to pursuits. The bill says a chase should not happen without probable cause of a violent crime. The incident that sparked this happened on September 6th when a Priceville police officer initiated a chase on I-65. Within 1 minute, that chase stretched into Hartselle. It ended in a violent crash when the suspect hit the car Hollis and other teens were in. Hollis was killed at that scene. Now, in an emotional statement to committee members, his mother, Rachel Moore, says she's pushing for the bill to pass in memory of those wrongly killed in reckless chases and to hold law enforcement accountable.
What torment to think of my only child in pain, clinging for his life. How scared he must have been, asking for a law to pass in honor of him and his memory, so other families and victims do not have to live with this unbearable grief. To hold officers of the state accountable for their actions, to serve and protect, not seek and destroy.
Members with the Alabama Association of Chiefs of Police have filed in opposition to the bill. One chief says while the bill has good intentions, it would hinder officers from catching criminals quickly and threaten public safety.
By limiting vehicular pursuits to only a narrow scope to violent crimes, this bill would create predictable constraints that will be quickly exploited by criminal offenders. Criminal behavior is adaptive, as we all know. Once offenders understand that law enforcement is restricted from pursuing them for many offenses, compliance with the traffic stops and lawful orders would dramatically decrease, and individuals who believe they can evade arrest simply by fleeing in a vehicle will be more likely to do so.
Alabama is number 2 in the country when it comes to chase-related deaths. Also new at noon, Madison is backed out of an internet sales tax lawsuit, joining several other cities looking to the legislature for a solution. That lawsuit was filed by the city of Tuscaloosa. They announced today they're also no longer a part of it. Hoover dropped it as well. Participating cities sued Alabama over how tax revenue from online sales is distributed under the simplified seller's use tax. Currently, the system tax dollars from companies like Amazon, Uber Eats, and DoorDash are distributed through the state rather than going directly to the city where the purchase was made. However, leaders with all 67 counties in Alabama and nearly 200 cities signed a resolution opposing the lawsuit, saying they would lose out on millions of dollars.
A 48 first alert weather day this morning for an impactful morning commute with some rain that came down heavy at times, but that rainfall moving south and the clouds are following with it. So therefore it's getting brighter and brighter with each passing hour this afternoon, including in the shoals. We have endless blue sky now, and it's absolutely gorgeous with temperatures in the 50s. Big turnaround from where we started the day for sure. Current temperatures right now are mainly in the 50s. I do think we'll get back to around 60 degrees this afternoon with plenty of sunshine. And it looks like right now where areas still have a little cloud cover, don't worry, you'll get into some sunshine too. Once we clear out though, got to watch out for a little fog developing tonight with temperatures in the mid 30s. Some of that fog could be locally dense and impact your morning commute tomorrow. But Thursday and Friday overall look pretty quiet. Lots of sunshine, temperatures either side of 60 degrees. The next concern or weather maker will come on Saturday. A 48 first alert weather day for Saturday, mainly at night and into Sunday morning. We'll be tracking heavy rainfall. Severe weather does not look like it will be an issue, but certainly some heavy rain. And I'll have much more on that part of your forecast coming right up. Gina?
Jeff, thank you. We're waiting on an update this afternoon after 2 people were stabbed at a Huntsville apartment complex. This happened at the Beacon Apartments last night near University and Sparkman Drive. The 2 men who were stabbed are both in critical condition. Huntsville police have not said what may have led to this. However, authorities say there is no threat to the public. Huntsville police leaders are talking publicly about how the department handles officer misconduct allegations. The department received 195 total complaints about its officers last year. The complaints were made by community members and even other officers. Police investigators found that 40% of those allegations showed officers broke a rule. One person who attended last night's public feedback session says these cases impact trust in local law enforcement.
The moment that the person that's supposed to protect me now becomes an enemy and that it can be more of a danger to me versus I am to them, there's an issue, 100% an issue. And I think some of these officers and some of the representatives that's on this board tonight for this forum, they felt what I was talking about, and some of the other residents that spoke up felt what I was talking about.
The next public feedback forum is happening in April. Well, here's a look at several HPD officers who were arrested over the past year. Brandon O'Field is accused of breaking into his ex's home and holding her and another person at gunpoint. Scott Hartman was charged with DUI after a wreck. George Wheeler III was also charged with DUI after a separate wreck. And Timothy Richards was charged with using pepper spray. 2 other officers pictured here are on leave as internal investigations take place. Newmarket residents are continuing their fight against a planned sewage treatment plant in their neighborhood, but now they're facing a setback. Those in the Berry Hill community have been asking Madison County commissioners to stop Integra Water from building that plant. They believe it will pollute the Flint River and lower their property values. The county commission passed a resolution asking state lawmakers to regulate private sewer facilities. Despite this, construction on the plant is moving forward, which frustrates residents.
We were very frustrated, disappointed. The legislation that they are passing forward is needed. At the same time, to not have any development setback, to not have any development rules included in that legislation was extraordinarily disappointing.
It's unclear when construction will start. Neighbors say they're considering filing a lawsuit to try and stop the plant from being built. Well, we are learning more about an upcoming census test in Huntsville. The Rocket City was one of just 2 cities chosen as testing sites. The other city chosen was Spartanburg, South Carolina. In the coming weeks, Huntsville residents will receive mail from the Census Bureau. It's important to remember this is not the real census, but you're still encouraged to fill it out. The practice census will help officials get an idea of what works before the real one in 2030. James Vandiver with the city's planning department says you should treat it like the real thing because it could mean more resources for Huntsville in the future.
The response in 2020 was helpful because it helped us get more money for things like roads and schools and other programs that rely on federal funding. Also, importantly for the state of Alabama, we were able to keep our entire congressional delegation. That was one of the worries that the state had. And thanks to the response that Huntsville and the rest of Alabama had, we were able to keep that congressional delegation as is.
Not everyone will get one of these tests. Important to note here, there will also be an online option. Well, major developments now in the Nancy Guthrie case. A person detained for questioning is now sharing his story after being released. This happened just hours after the FBI released doorbell camera footage from outside Guthrie's home the night she disappeared. Ivan Rodriguez is in Arizona with the latest.
A man is speaking out after being detained and questioned by authorities over the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
And they told me I was being detained for kidnapping. And I asked them, like, well, kidnapping of who? And they told me this lady, I don't know her name. And
Nancy Guthrie?
Yeah, that's her. And I told them I work in Tucson for GLS. I might have delivered a package to your house, but I never kidnapped anybody.
The individual was detained during a traffic stop an hour's drive south of Tucson. Authorities executed a search warrant at a home and also searched a car. Both of those searches taking place in Rio Rico, Arizona, roughly 60 miles south of Tucson near the U.S.-Mexico border. Authorities did not file charges and he was eventually released. Those developments happening just hours after the FBI released doorbell camera footage from outside Nancy Guthrie's front door, taken the night she disappeared. The video showed a masked, armed person with a backpack. There was an uptick in calls to law enforcement after the release of the footage.
This video was a game changer. We don't know how many tips they have had, but they are looking for the person on the porch or anyone who knows anything about him. And I do think it's just a matter of time before we know that person's identity.
In Catalina Foothills, I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Well, Canadians are in shock after a deadly school shooting in British Columbia. At least 9 are dead and more than 24 are injured. 2 of the victims were shot at a home close to the school. Authorities say the suspected shooter, a woman, was found dead from a self-inflicted wound. Investigators have yet to determine a motive. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced flags will fly at half-staff for 7 days. School shootings are rare in Canada, which has strict gun control laws. Well, some big projects are being done within Madison County schools. We take an inside look and tell you when they'll be done. Well, several school construction projects are underway in Madison County as more students move to the area. Work on Sparkman Intermediate School is 84% done, and the school should be ready for students by the start of the next school year. The outside is good to go, and now crews are finishing the inside of the building. In Hazel Green, 12 classrooms are being added at Hazel Green High School, and so is a brand new middle school. Madison County Schools Director of Operations Joseph Kazort says the projects are needed to support the growing number of students.
That school is a brand new design. It was designed by the architect to fit the property. We love this design, but we had to change it to fit the property and still have room for parking, bus routing, unloading of students.
The Hazel Green Middle School project is about 25% complete. Is expected to be finished in time for the 2027-2028 school year. Cameras will now be installed inside special education classrooms within Huntsville City Schools. School board members discussed Tyler's Law yesterday, which allows cameras to record during school hours. The district has installed 22 cameras out of 76 classrooms at this time. Board attorneys say the cameras are for student safety.
The camera is only really looked at when an incident, which is a defined term, which we have in our policy, when that is reported to the superintendent or to the local school principal. At that point, it is then pulled. It does, expressly prohibit use for routine teacher evaluations or just any live viewing.
I think this will reassure a lot of our parents who were uneasy, and it's really to keep our students safe.
Parents will receive letters regarding the cameras once all cameras are installed. Grissom High School cheerleaders are celebrating a big win. The team has returned home after winning the Cheer National Championship in Orlando. The hard work paid off, and they have the hardware to prove it. Congrats to them. Well, if you've been looking to learn more about local government, we have something you may be interested in. You have until Friday the 13th to apply for Huntsville's Civic Engagement Academy. Participants will get a behind-the-scenes look at how Huntsville operates, from public safety and infrastructure to parks, planning, and community development. Graduates of the program often serve on boards and commissions and become stronger advocates for their communities. To apply for the spring cohort, head to the city's website. Well, check this out. A North Carolina animal shelter is getting creative this Valentine's season, turning heartbreak into help for kittens. The shelter is giving a literal meaning to love stinks. Donors can pay $5 to have their ex's name written inside a litter box. The fundraiser, which launched this week, has already seen almost 24 donors from that community. However, the litter box isn't just for show.
At the end of the month, we'll give it to our cats and let them do their thing. So they will poop all over your exes. This one in particular I think is hilarious. She donated double for us to write it in large, bold font.
Now, the shelter has another fundraiser that is more in the loving spirit. For another $5, you can write a love note to an animal at the shelter, and the notes will be hung around the building. The money raised through both efforts will go toward a fenced-in area so animals can play outside.
Now, your 48 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist Jeff Denoyer.
Either way you go, it still works out to be a great situation for the pups, and they can be outside in a fenced-in area. And maybe taking that pup for a walk this afternoon. Forecast summary looks good right now outside. A lot of sunshine popping, and it'll stay dry through Friday. No weather concerns except for some fog tomorrow morning. Other than that, very quiet through the end of the week. But an alert day now for Saturday. Got to track some heavy rain. The timing of this thing continues to get pushed back deeper into the day Saturday. Saturday's a big day for some of you. Valentine's Day is really important, and I get it. Some heavy rain coming in Saturday night and Sunday. Right now, it looks like the heaviest rain will hold off until the evening, so much of the day may be dry, but most of you have plans for the nighttime anyway, right? Speaking of rainfall, yeah, a little burst of rain we had this morning made for a tough morning commute. That is moving south. The back edge of the cloud cover is right behind it, and therefore we're already popping some sunshine. So temperatures that were around 60 at midnight dropped into the 40s and now back up again. And we got some 50s out there, and we'll probably get into some 60s this afternoon, at least low-end 60s as we get brighter and brighter with each passing hour this afternoon. 8-hour forecast. There's your temperature trend to go up, and I do think we'll get close to 60 degrees before falling back into the 40s by 8 p.m. And besides, a little cloud cover out there now should get clear as we go into the late afternoon and evening. All eyes on the weekend, though. I already mentioned a quiet Thursday and Friday. Looks like a great weather week to end the week anyway. But we get concerns on Saturday, that 48 first alert weather day, for some rain coming in. Right now, severe weather doesn't look likely, but anytime you have some thunder and some heavy rain, you know it's going to be impactful, and it will be Saturday night into Sunday. Time frame for that, 7 a.m. Saturday. Rain is lurking off to our west. It's stuck on a treadmill for a few hours. It doesn't quite get here until later in the day. But then once we get into the nighttime hours, that's when you could have some thunderstorms that produce some heavy rainfall. That heavy rainfall will continue to move east as we go into the overnight hours. By 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, pouring outside. And then by the time we get to the morning and you're getting ready for church services, that rainfall will be moving east. We start to see the back edge of this get out of here by about 5 p.m. and we dry out. But when it's all said and done, many locations could have 1, 2, possibly 3 inches of rainfall, and that's a solid soaker for the weekend. And it looks like much of the weekend will be at least cloudy, if not wet. Once the 48 first alert weather day is out of here for the weekend, it gets really nice next week with a good deal of sunshine and very warm temperatures. Gina.
Jeff, thank you. Creating a lasting legacy for local Black artists. How one group is doing that next. Well, Black art deserves more than 1 month of recognition. That is the driving force behind the Patrons of Black Artists Committee at the Huntsville Museum of Art. Since launching last year, the committee has already secured its first major acquisition for a permanent collection. And members say they're just getting started. 48's Claudia Peppenhorst has more.
The Patrons of Black Artists Committee at the Huntsville Museum of Art has a big goal, creating a lasting legacy for Black artists in our community.
This committee is a group of individuals that are devoted to the expansion of artwork of Black artists here at the museum.
Teresa Foley-Batts, who is a member of the committee, says the concept is pretty new. They just started last year, but the idea for their work was originally born from the Black History Month committee.
Our focus is a little bit different because we're not just focusing on Black History Month. We are looking to expand it throughout the year.
Now, the Black History Month committee, which has since been dissolved, has turned into the Patrons of Black Artists Committee because Black art deserves to be celebrated year-round, not just 1 month.
Us being able to acquire artwork from Black artists, that is going to be legacy. You know, it's not just going to be, hey, 1 month, we bring it in, we take it out. We will have a permanent collection.
The artwork you've seen so far was acquired before the committee was established. Now, Natalie Maltmead, the chief curator at the Huntsville Museum of Art, says the Patrons of Black Artists Committee has not even been established a year, and they've already made their first acquisition of Black art for the permanent collection, thanks to lots of fundraising.
The first major initiative that the Patrons of Black Artists did was to help us acquire this work by Dr. Fahamu Pakum.
The acrylic painting will make its debut at the Huntsville Museum of Art in 2027. Now, the committee is working towards finding their next acquisition for the permanent collection.
It is definitely an honor to be part of this committee, to do something that is going to have a lasting effect.
In Huntsville, Claudia Pappenhorst, 48 on your side.
And if you want to see even more African American art this Black History Month, you can plan to visit the African American Art Festival. It's happening on February 21st from 10 to 6 at the Dr. Robert Cherney Legacy Center. Now, the event is free to the public and it is open to anyone. There's even something for the kids to enjoy with interactive art activities and digital art experiences.
Final forecast, if you want to see a little sunshine and you're in Huntsville, just pop your head outside. I mean, it's really nice now. Didn't look that way in the beginning of the day when we had rain and it was going to be a soggy morning commute. We've come a long way. And in Huntsville, plenty of sunshine, 53 degrees. Sun shining brightly in Decatur now, 55 degrees and looking good. It's just a matter of getting into the sunshine and getting the clouds on out of here. And we're in the process of doing that. So your 50s will likely become 60 this afternoon. And it really does turn out to be a delightful day. Just a little speed bump this morning in that morning commute with some heavy rainfall. The afternoon looks delightful. If you have plans this evening, it's clear. And maybe you're trying to beat everybody out for that dinner plan this weekend because we know the reservations are stacking up on Saturday night. Maybe you do a little Valentine's Day dinner tonight or maybe tomorrow night. Why not? Dense fog tonight, though, if you're going to be out and about after midnight and you're having a really good night. Chilly. That will set you up for a tough morning commute tomorrow morning. But otherwise, Thursday and Friday look fantastic. Enjoy either side of 60. Can't beat it. Valentine's Day, that's when we have a 48 first alert weather day. Not for any past breakups, but for heavy rainfall. That will likely come in at night and be with us Sunday morning. Once that heavy rain is out of here for the weekend and any rumbles of thunder, next week looks fantastic if you like spring-like weather with temperatures in the 60s and 70s and a really good looking forecast once you get past the weekend. It's just a big hurdle on this weekend on Saturday night into Sunday. A lot of you asking at home, are we going to have severe thunderstorms? That does not look like it will be the case. It just looks like there'll be a lot of heavy rainfall Saturday night into Sunday with some areas that could push maybe 2-3 inches of rainfall. That's certainly impactful and why we have a 48 first alert weather day.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for watching. Make sure to tune into the Fastcast at 3 p.m. and also 48 News at 4 on air. Have a good one. Ah, yes, I forgot. I always forget when days are different. Like, all right, sorry, give me a second.